Mark Cuban weighs in on transgender athletes in women's sports, saying people are just not ready for it.
It's probably true.
Can you play this clip, Rob? Mark Cuban breaking it down with Stephen A. Smith that we should be ready for it. If we're progressive enough, we should accept the fact that men should compete in women's sports. Go ahead, Rob.
The whole trans sports issue, it's like the old Willie Horton thing. My attitude is if there's a trans athlete, no matter what side, you let the opponent, whether it's an individual sport or a team sport, you let them decide if they wanted to compete against them or not. If they feel they can win, if they feel it's not fair, it's up to them. But to make it just a national issue so that if you weren't supporting the fewer than 10 trans athletes in the NCAA, then, you weren't a good person. People aren't ready for that yet. And you've got to meet people where they are. We've taken this country so far in race relationships, relations, and attitudes towards LGBTQ.
He is butchering.
It takes time. You can't just force it down people's throat. And instead of trying to get it where the people who are being disadvantaged and being discriminated against are helped, they wanted to make it a campaign issue. Focus on helping the people, not using them to campaign.
All right, Vinny, thoughts? Actually, no, Tom, I'm going to go to you first. Mark Cuban, he's got daughters, okay? So he's a family man. He's been married for a long time. He's a good father. His kids love him. What do you say about what he had to say here?
I think Mark really gave a tangled-up answer there. And I think what was interesting is, if you don't like it, you can forfeit. I think that's really terrible. We've seen the stronger athletes. I don't think I'm ready to see men spike volleyballs and knock my daughter unconscious. I don't think I'm ready today. I don't think I'll be ready in 10 years. I don't think I'll ever be ready for that. And I think what Mark, I don't know what he was trying to say. It seems like he got a little tangled up around the point, because I think that there's a common sense element to this. And it's been said by many people. They said, look, we spend all of this time on steroid detection and blood doping detection in the Olympics. And there were East German, back when there was two Germanys, powerlifters that were blood doping for the Olympics. And we spend all this time, how do we stop this injustice? How do we find out about these steroids in the Olympics? How do we level the playing field? Remember, that was the whole argument about steroids and what we got to do, and the World Doping Association, what it had to do, because it's so unfair. Here you have countries like the United States and East Germany with these big budgets, and this guy from Cameroon that's trained all of his life and is losing out to a guy who's blood doping. That's not fair. What happened to that? Where did that go? Now you're all the way to Mark Cuban saying, well, if you don't like it, you can forfeit, so you could just lose. So Riley Gaines could have said, well, I'm not going to get in the pool. I'm just going to forfeit. Really? It's just, I don't think people are ready for that. I don't think people are ready for, I think people are ready for fairness. And I think Mark gave a really tangled up answer there. People are ready for fairness. People are ready to step back and say, wait a minute. That's what people are ready for. It's not like, well, if we just wait long enough, we'll sacrifice our daughters to men in sports. No. We spent all this time getting steroids out, and now we let the guy with built-in steroids in his testicles walk in. That's so unfair.
Yeah, and does he have, by the way, and it's always the people that it doesn't affect their lives. Anytime people were open border, or anytime people are like, let them play, because you know what? They're not getting affected. Their children are getting raped. Their children are getting murdered. Their daughters aren't losing freaking scholarships. I think it's stupid. And you know what? I want people like Mark Cuban to keep talking, keep putting a mic in front of his face, keep letting him say dumb, ignorant stuff like that. Just like, Jasmine Crockett, who was the other one that had the trans, the Neil deGrasse Tyson, the dumbest sounding arguments, and the left, these Democrats will not change the tune. It's like with all the stuff that's happening in the world, we're still talking about this. We're still talking about men playing with women. And this is from a party, the most hypocrisy I've ever seen. They're so pro-women. They're so my body and my choice. It's like, bro, you're competing against men, and people are getting injured. Women are losing their freaking scholarships, and they're all these feminists. They're such male feminists, but when it comes to this, they want men to compete with our freaking daughters, and I think it's absolutely ridiculous. But let them keep talking. There goes. Anytime that people are like, oh, you can maybe run for president, this is always going to come back to bite him in the butt.
By the way, you know what I like, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on the story. I'm going to go to the next story. But Stephen A. Smith finally says, he's open to the idea of running for president. Okay, he's actually leaving the door open. Okay, Stephen A. Smith. And guess what? You know what? At least Stephen A. is doing. At least he's given a different angle. At least he has the audacity to disagree with the Democratic Party. At least he has the guts to say, yeah, you guys screwed up royally. At least he has the audacity to do that. And guess what? Whether it's going to work or not, it is what it is. I don't know if it's going to work or not. I do know they're going to attack the hell out of him. Is this it, Rob, with him saying he's open to the idea or not?
I believe so.
Play this clip real quick.
Unfortunately, over the last few weeks, I've had no choice but to get a bit more serious about it. I've been approached by people on Capitol Hill. I've been approached by people who are elected officials in office, whether it's governors or mayors or what have you, and people have legitimately and seriously asked me about that. I have no desire to be a politician. My life is pretty well. But I've decided I'm no longer going to close that door. I'm going to keep my options open. I'm going to entertain the possibility. And if it comes in 2020, late 2026, 2027, where I look at this country and I think it's an absolute mess and there's legitimate reason to believe, whether it's via exploratory committees or anything else, that I indeed would have a legitimate shot to win the presidency of the United States, I am not going to rule it out, and I'm not playing. I just think that it's a mess right now. I'm not scared.
Big difference. Mark Cuban versus him. He'll call out BS, and Mark Cuban is just going to sit there and try to spin. I don't get a feel that Stephen A. is spinning a lot. I think Stephen A. was afraid to be a little bit more public about it. Maybe a year ago, maybe a couple of years ago, maybe a few years ago. I think right now he's more open about it, and he's still got the contract. He's with ESPN. He has the mic. Now he has his own show. Now he has a bunch of stuff going on. You got to respect the difference between the two of them, Vinny.
Well, but how much of all, and this is all of the left, Chris Cuomo, him, the majority of the left now are just like, man, our party did this and our party did that. Where were they for the past 4 years? And I understand what you're saying, where they had to be kind of quiet and everything, but like, if you just let all that slide, and now all of a sudden they're all like, yeah, man, everybody's pointing that way and saying, man, they messed up. Okay, everybody knew. No, by the way, and he voted, right? Did he say he voted for?
He voted.
He voted,
and he voted for Kamala.
And he voted for Kamala.
Yep.
How? Like, I don't understand how anybody in their right mind all of a sudden can make this flip, but you still voted for Kamala Harris. They couldn't name one thing that she was going to do positive, and yet now everybody's jumping ship. Everybody, even Jake Tapper and all these guys are writing books talking about, man, they lied to us about Biden as if we were all blind and we couldn't see what's happening. I just don't know how genuine all these things are, because at the end of the day, this 4 years Trump is going to be gone. What are you going to do different? Are they going to come in and reverse everything that he's done, everything that he did for 2016 when he did all that he did with all the racism stuff, with all the COVID stuff, with all the negative Russia collusion? He still busted his ass to try to get this country back in order, and then COVID hit. And then now he's just trying to build us all the way back. What are they going to do when they come in? Because I'm telling you right now, I like Stephen A. Smith. I mean, I trust him way more than I trust Gavin. But those are the type of people, once they come in, what are you going to do to reverse the country, especially if we're on the way to a brighter future?
Well, Stephen A. is getting a little bit more confidence now. Something happens to you guys when a $100 million check hits your bank account. So your chest gets a little puffed up. You get a little more bass in your voice. I get it, Stephen A. Smith. Shout out to you. Still voted for Kamala, but we love you anyway. About Mark Cuban. So I don't know. I don't know if this is something that he just worked hard for it. And I don't know if it's something where they just arranged a marriage for Mark Cuban. Because he met his wife, I think, in 1997. They married in 2002. They got 3 kids. He was an entrepreneur. He went to Indiana. He started these tech companies. He became a billionaire. He bought the Dallas Mavericks. Yeah. All of a sudden, he's doing Shark Tank. Next thing you know, he transforms into Rachel Maddow. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, he's doing these interviews. He's jumbling his words. Maybe that's just his career path. Or maybe the dark forces of the Democratic Party were arranging a marriage 25 years ago. I don't know the answer. I'll let the crowd speculate. But Mark Cuban, we're on to you, buddy.
I have a sense you're being sarcastic, right? Is that what you're trying to do?
I am, Vinny. Because some things are just what they are.
Did you just make any point? You just went on like I'm waiting. This is sometime where I watch. I'm like I want to hear something, but I'm going to go to this next story.
Can I make a fast point?
Kamala Harris.
I want Vinny to make a point.
Can I show you how to make a point?
No, Tom. Sit
Regarding
in the corner.
Stephen A. Smith, really, really quick. I don't think it has anything to do with this contract. I don't think that. I think he's got deep personal integrity, and he was talking about looking at the country and looking at the party and saying, I'm not going to leave. I'm going to leave the door open because if I see things I don't think are good there, I'm going to do it. And I think that's integrity. And by the way, how many of us here at this table cannot go to a drawer or a photo album that we have and look at pictures of ourselves and say, wow, what was I thinking?
Oh, yeah,
right?
for sure.
And so why can't
You ever
Stephen
wear
A. Smith
Jinko
look
jeans?
back? Why can't Stephen A. Smith look back over politics and things like this and going, wow, what are they thinking? And maybe I'm evolving in the process. So we've been talking about a lot of things, but in terms of Stephen A., I think it takes a lot of guts what he's done, and I think he's got personal integrity, and I think it has jack to do with how much he earns. I think that's him.
Are you a dog person or a cat person? We know this guy's a cat person. Adam, I have a special guest here today. If you can bring them over here. This is my number one therapist for the last 16 years next month. This is our buddy Jimbo.
Jimbo.
Jimbo's going to be 16 years old next month, and he's wearing some. Jimbo, can we show off what you got on? He's got a Future Looks Bright shirt back here, and because it is what is it? The National Pet Day, Rob? Can you pull that up?
Yes, Friday, National Pet Day.
National Pet Day is Friday. We got this gear for you that our merch team thought it was a good idea. Okay, I want to show you this. So if you guys, honestly, if this sells out, I'm going to personally give credit to the merch team to come up with these ideas. And I will say, this is their idea if it goes lights out, okay? Now, what do we have here? A few different things for you to pick from with Future Looks Bright. Frisbee rope toy. This is one. We have this tennis ball. What does it say? Tennis ball sling toy. We have this other one. This is sick, actually, if you look at it. This is the biting, the dog toy, with the leashes that we got with Future Looks Bright on it and Valuetainment on it.
Gangster.
This is the gangster if you're from LA, New York, maybe in Baltimore, pick this up.
Yeah.
We got some of this stuff. And on top of that, if you go, by the way, look at that Yeti one. Can you zoom into that Yeti one?
Oh,
is that
that's
like
awesome.
a Yeti, like a Yeti
Oh, it's a dog bowl?
Yeah, look how sick
this
that
guy's
is with
chilling.
Future Looks
I
Bright.
saw Vinny drinking out of one of
Every
those
day
this
your dog
morning.
will be excited when he's going through this. Go back, Rob. So let's place an order on one of the things so they can kind of see. Let's place an order on this, hypothetically. If you buy this, watch what happens, okay? So you buy this $15, you add it to the cart. Then it says here, are you team wolf or team meow? So you're going to get a Valuetainment mug that says meow or wolf, depending on if you're a dog person or a cat person. Obviously, Adam goes with meow and Vinny would go with wolf, but some of us actually like dogs and cats. But anyways, if you got animals, if you got dogs, go place an order for National Pet Day. Future Looks Bright. I never forget one of the shows I watched, cartoons, that it said all dogs go to heaven with the character Charlie. You remember that?
Best.
What a great movie, right?
Cry all the time.
If you love dogs, you got dogs, place an order. Future Looks Bright, not only for us humans, but also for dogs. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.